Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. We're just going to get into some audio by Ali Harris in a second, but I just want to go back to a article, and this was produced on the 27th of August, back end of last month. Emmanuel Harris' father admitted to killing missing baby and dumping him in a trash can. That's the title there, and people can go and read that, but it's just absolutely disgusting. Emmanuel Harris' father was tricked into admitting he killed 7-month-old and dumped his body in a trash can, according to a new report, as authorities say the baby died after enduring lengthy abuse by his parents. And this is by Gerard Downing, and obviously there is the arrest being made, and we can obviously see the mother, basically Rebecca, being arrested and put into a police car, obviously some days ago now. But it is bizarre if he had done that, because we're just dealing with someone who I think is a compulsive liar. I really do think that. And I really do think that basically we're dealing with some evil people there. It's really bizarre in how they were even allowed to bring up other kids at the end of the day. Really bizarre. And the article goes on to say, we believe baby Nolan was subject to abuse over time, and because of this abuse, he succumbed to his injuries. Riverside County District Attorney Michael Hestrin told reporters on Wednesday. So obviously that has been doing the rounds in the way the baby was treated, and I think it really, really suffered. Let's just get into some update information by Ali Harris. She did send this to me last night, but I'm still on holiday, but we'll update this.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's okay. It's Ali here. Just a little update on baby Emmanuel. There has been a neighbour that's been speaking out. She tried to ignore it for a few days, but she has finally spoken out. And I will thank Undercover Truths, who Vinny very kindly put me in touch with, for their report. Thank you.
Oh, I bet.
Partially delusional.
Where were you at when this happened?
I was at the park. I was at the park watching my son play football. What happened?
Oh,
I go on, I take baby.
yeah. That's how I am too. I go store.
It was horrible.
It does.
Worst feeling ever.
It is.
Balling, I'm so.
No, you're just numb right now.
Yeah.
You're just numb, you know? It's
The cops were treating us as horrible.
really.
Yeah. It's been
No.
there are a lot of good cops. I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
They're just doing their job, but it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
horrible feeling, you know?
No, yeah. So I seen on the picture like your baby was something wrong with the eyes. Is that what they say? No, he was on no medication or nothing. Okay, so
Little eye sometimes goes.
yeah, my daughter was like that too. Yeah. So
She was on medication.
yeah.
What was
Well, she had a genetic. It was a genetic disease. It was in December. That's when I get told, you know.
I'm just going to interrupt here.
The neighbor's voice is unsteady, shaking as she says, "When I heard the news, I just couldn't believe it. That baby, I saw him just days before, and they were smiling, acting like everything was normal. They lied to everyone. They lied to us. I remember hearing sounds that night, but I told myself it was nothing. I keep asking, how could I ignore that? How could I stay quiet?" Her words capture the reality of this case better than any police report could, because the truth is, the Harrows were skilled at deception. They wore masks of normalcy while chaos unfolded inside their home. They laughed with neighbors. They waved at strangers. They pretended to be the perfect family. But when it mattered most, when their child needed them the most, they turned away from their responsibilities as parents and replaced them with lies. We have to ask ourselves, what kind of parents can hold a child in their arms, then face the world with smiles and excuses? What kind of people can look their community in the eye knowing that their child is gone because of choices they made? These are not questions for the Harrows alone. These are questions for us as a society. Because it's easier to believe the surface, to accept what we're told, than it is to look deeper and confront uncomfortable truths. and baby Emmanuel paid the ultimate price for our willingness to look away. In the aftermath, contradictions began piling up. The parents' statements to police didn't match what neighbors described. The timeline of their movements didn't align with phone records. Surveillance footage from a nearby street contradicted their alibis. And yet for days, the official narrative remained that Emmanuel's death was an accident that conveniently erased all responsibility from those who should have been protecting him. But as evidence mounted, that word accident became impossible to accept. What investigators found suggested much more than negligence. Messages sent between the parents revealed tensions, anger, and blame. They were at odds with each other even as they tried to present a united front to the public. It was not the portrait of grieving parents, but of two people desperately trying to maintain a facade while their lives unraveled around them. And the deeper police dug, the more troubling the discoveries became. It's important to understand the weight of what this means. When parents lie about the death of their own child, it raises questions not just about their character, but about the environment in which Emmanuel lived his short life. Did neighbors miss the signs because they didn't want to see them? Did authorities fail to intervene when red flags appeared? These failures ripple outward. They don't just tell us about one family, they tell us about an entire system that waits until tragedy strikes before asking hard questions. And those hard questions still remain. Why did the Harrows feel so confident in deceiving the public? Why did they believe their story would hold? What really happened inside that house in Emmanuel's final hours? These are not details to be brushed aside. These are the keys to understanding how a child could go from being alive and seen just days before to gone without explanation. As this story unfolds, more voices are stepping forward. Neighbors who once stayed quiet are admitting they heard more than they told police. Others confess they saw behavior that seemed strange but didn't want to get involved. Every new piece of testimony paints a clearer picture. Emmanuel's death wasn't sudden. It wasn't without warning. It was surrounded by signs that were ignored, overlooked, or deliberately concealed. The Harrows' lives were not only to the public, they were to each other. Arguments over responsibility, guilt, and fear spilled into private conversations that investigators would later uncover. These revelations show us not just a fractured family, but a fractured truth. A truth that Emmanuel will never be able to tell himself. And that's why it must be told for him. If you're watching this now, this is not just information. This is a call to awareness. Stories like Emmanuel's should not fade from memory once the cameras turn away. They should force us to recognize how fragile protection is for children. And the more people who hear it, the harder it becomes for cases like this to vanish into silence. So I encourage you, subscribe, share, and stay with this investigation. The truth must reach out beyond these walls, because Emmanuel's story is not only about what happened in one home, it's about how many homes could be hiding the same secrets. As investigators press forward, new documents, recordings, and testimonies are emerging. The timeline of Emmanuel's final hours is being pieced together hour by hour, moment by moment. And the more those pieces fall into place, the more disturbing the picture becomes. What investigators are finding is not just tragedy, it's betrayal. And betrayal, once exposed, cannot be ignored. This is the beginning of a case that challenges everything we thought we knew about the Harrow family. It challenges what we believe about neighbors who stay silent. It challenges the systems that failed to step in. And it forces us to ask, how many more children will suffer before the truth matters enough to act? The answers are still unfolding. The story is still being written. And tonight, as we continue to uncover more, one fact remains unshakable. Baby Emmanuel should still be alive. And the lies that surrounded him must not be allowed to silence his truth.
Yeah. Since that, we have been told that the police had planted somebody. Ali here again. Some of the stories that are coming out of America at the moment are unbelievable. I just need to tell you about something that might make you smile, but might make you think, what are we doing with our society? This was a lady who has just been charged with 5 felony counts over 6 years in prison for political and political fraud, as I call it, for using her deceased dog's collar tag and paw print to vote. She voted by mail with the caption, "Maya is still getting her ballot." Maya, her dog, passed away last year, and the lady herself has been charged with 5 counts of political fraud in 2 elections because it was deemed non-existent person to vote, 1 of perjury, 1 of counterproductive and counter-procurement, false and forged documents, 2 not exist and not evident in a human being. So this social woman has also posted this on her Instagram account. It's in San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, and that is in the same area as the Emmanuel murder. So, you know, the lady's due to get 6 years. Where's the balance in society? I know it's a waste of time and everything else, but why didn't somebody else pick this one up? We're still waiting on more details of the court hearing yesterday of Rebecca and Jake Harrow and what their defense lawyer has to say. We will keep you posted on that, people. Keep tuning to Streamline Entertainments and Investigations, and have a good weekend. Thank you. Bye.
Really interesting stuff there by Ali Harris, and always comes up with things that haven't really been sort of put out there, which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, the breakdown of the neighbour and what the TikToker said, I think was spot on, people. Let's just move on.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Ali here. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. I've just heard from Vinny, and we can go outside the court now for the live entered plea of not guilty by Jake and Rebecca Harrow.
A plea of not guilty. Now, I believe we have some video. This was just recorded, has not been edited. We saw Jake Harrow come into the courtroom. He's wearing that red jumpsuit, which indicates he is not part of the general population in jail. He is kept separate for his own of the charges that he is facing. Rebecca Harrow was wearing blue. We didn't see the color of her pants, which apparently determines, but we do not believe she is part of the general population either. Again, both of them entering pleas of not guilty through their attorneys. They really didn't speak. Jake said, "Good morning, Your Honor." Then he acknowledged, and you're looking live at that video right there. You see Jeff Moore. He is the court-appointed private attorney for Rebecca Harrow. He stood right in front of her. She is sitting behind him. Jake and Rebecca were on opposite sides of the courtroom. Both of them brought in through separate doors. I did not see either of them look at each other at any time. I may have missed a glance, but Jake Harrow kept his eyes on the judge, and Rebecca was covered by, again, her attorney that you see there, Jeff Moore. And he is from Blumenthal and Moore. That is a law firm that works with the county of Riverside, the Riverside County Public Defender's Office. They are appointed by the court. Next important dates, they have what's called a, let me get that right here, the Felony Settlement Conference. That is also referred to as a Trial Readiness Conference. That date has been set for September 16th. And basically the lawyers come together with the judge, with the defendants in this case, and talk about the trial, their readiness for the trial, what they expect, and if there's a plea deal that is reached, alleged, and I want to note here that the Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hestron said there were no plea deals in the works, but again, that was last week, so things could have changed. That will be discussed on September 16th. On September 17th, the next day, that is the scheduled start date for the preliminary hearing, often referred to simply as the prelim. The prelim is where we will hear, most likely, not all of the evidence the prosecution has against the Haros, but just enough to convince the judge that there is cause that they be held over for trial on charges of murder in the death of their baby boy, Emmanuel Haro, only 7 months old when he was reported missing on the 14th. His parents telling police he had been kidnapped from a parking lot in Yucaipa. Investigators now saying that is not true. That never happened. And in court documents, they list the date of possible death between August the 5th and August the 14th. August 5th, most likely the last day that investigators can independently confirm that the baby was indeed alive. And I want to reiterate, his body remains have not been found yet. Again, mark your calendar if you're following the case of baby Emmanuel, September 16th and September 17th for a prelim. Of course, those dates always change. But once again, Jake and Rebecca Haro entering pleas today to not guilty to charges they murdered their son. This morning in a Riverside courtroom, Jake and Rebecca Haro, the parents of 7-month-old Emmanuel, entered pleas of not guilty to the charge of murdering their baby boy. Jake appeared in a red jail jumpsuit separated from the general population for his own protection. Rebecca sat across the courtroom silent, shielded by her attorney. They were brought in through separate doors. They did not look at each other, and they did not speak except for the briefest words to the judge. But the chilling reality is this: investigators now say Emmanuel was never kidnapped. As his mother claimed, they allege he died sometime between August 5th and August 14th, and that his own parents are responsible. His tiny body has still not been found. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down what unfolded inside that courtroom, what prosecutors are saying about Emmanuel's final days.
Right, I just come in there. They haven't found his body, but they have found something. The courtroom has said that they are still looking at the roadway 60, which is near where they live. I think it'll all come out in the wash because they did find something. We're not being told, but that's completely okay if it solves, what's happened to Emmanuel. At least that area is being preserved, which is so important in any case where there's doubt. Just keep the area unpolluted and preserved. We'll keep you updated on this story and more. Thank you very much, everybody, and take care. Bye.
Thank you very much to Ali Harris for that. At the end of the day, it's very, very important. Any news that comes out in finding baby Emmanuel, maybe, have they found a little bit of clothing, or, had Jake, to try to disregard something, or try to bury something which was found. It could have been a clothes item for, that baby. We don't know, but like I said, it's the police obviously must have found something, but they're still looking into it. Let's just hope they find the body so they can basically charge these awful parents of basically killing their baby. Well, Jake killing the baby, but obviously Rebecca had let him do it when she could have left at any time, or, taken the baby somewhere where it's going to be safe, or gone to the police. There's always a way out at the end of the day. I've got a funny feeling that Jake was very, very domineering and a bit of a psychopath. Let me know what you think, people. Once again, thank you very much for Ali Harris for all the information, and it is very, very important to put this out in this case. Thank you all. Take care. Bye. And don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment, and also put this out on Streamline Investigations as well.